Hello from an ADHD girly who tracks her entire life. I'm somebody who needs a lot of flexibility but also the structure, so I actually created systems to help me succeed. In this video, I'm going to show you everything that I do in all areas of my life so you can implement these fun creative systems to fit into your life and be more organized and productive. I actually got diagnosed today. I scored like 9 out of 9 for inattentive type of ADHD and 9 out of 9 for hyperactive type of ADHD. So I am combined type, and honestly I was a straight A student, so I'm kind of proud of myself here because that means I scored 100% and got straight A in ADHD. But that leads me to talk about my hacks for organizing my school life back when I was in school. So this is my school life and how I organized it. Feel free to skip this part if you're not a student, but honestly some of the hacks were pretty genius. My top study hack, because I could not just sit there and study, is recording myself teaching myself the content, because I love yapping, and so I would just like record myself talking about things, and then I would go for a walk or go on my commute and listen to that old recording. So I was kind of studying twice in that way. And during the exams, I would picture myself walking around my neighborhood where I had listened to myself teaching myself about these course concepts, and I would remember as I pictured areas in my neighborhood. Another thing I did was I made some fun jokes and puns that really helped me remember. Like for example, if I wanted to remember what the hippocampus did in the brain, I would picture a weird hippopotamus on my school campus, which is like you're in school to study for memory and like memorizing exam answers and stuff. So that visual helped me remember the function of the hippocampus all these years later. Another time during my calculus exam, I was stuck on integrating this question, and I was like, okay, maybe I can write a funny joke here and get bonus marks for this joke because the TA might like it. So I wrote like, hey, can I at least get partial marks for partial fractions? And I was like, oh my god, I can use partial fraction decomposition to solve this problem. Yeah, making it fun and using your creative side really helps with studying. I also made sure to hand in all my assignments and do all my homework on time because I had a group chat of all these other students who needed my help because they would be stuck on their homework assignments, and I would just share all of my notes and help them walk through the homework. And because I got the dopamine hit from helping others, I had to submit my assignments way earlier than anybody else just so I could explain the assignment to the other people. I also went to office hours a lot because the office hour time was kind of like my deadline for getting caught up in the course. So instead of waiting until an exam time to catch up on everything, I only did the office hour time. So I was able to stay on top of things basically every single week. And the office hours were much nicer than lecture, because in lecture I would be kind of zoned out and I'd have to take notes to pay attention. But in office hours, you can just chat and it's a lot more engaging for me. I also had every single week of my class written down like this. This is very satisfying for me, but basically every week I wrote down kind of the deadlines and what I had to do, and I looked at this every single day because this was kind of like a cue for my brain. Otherwise, I would just forget about what I was supposed to do. Having it all laid out like this made me know exactly what I had to do at any given time, so that made it a lot easier to get started. Now let's move on to the career section. I actually went viral for my work documentation. To be honest, I think it's an ADHD coping thing because my memory was so bad that I had to document everything for my work. I even had a template for following up with people, because like people would be like, okay, remind me to do this, or like I need something for my coworkers, and they'll be like, okay, check back with me later at this time, and I straight up would not remember. I also checked my daily work tasks like every single day. I made a lot of meeting notes as part of my documentation because literally I was not able to pay attention to the meeting if I wasn't doing something else on the side. So I had to be typing down meeting notes or getting some other boring admin work done like emails during the meetings. Oh, and also my work was completely remote, which really helped me, but there was still some structure with the regular meetings. Okay, so my documentation consisted of all of these Notion pages, and some of them were very easy. Like for example, it's literally just 2 sentences because I didn't want to forget to do these, but everything I was learning I had to take notes on, otherwise I would just forget them. It also helped me a lot for my resume later on because sometimes I would forget the projects that I worked on and the impact that I had. So every single week I actually have a wins document. This template I will link in the description below, but basically every single week I would go through what my wins were and reflect on how the work week went, like if I was learning anything, if I had any challenges, and this would just make sure that I was set up for the future. And I actually did get laid off, so I was glad I had all of this documentation, but be sure to check your NDA so you're not like doing anything illegal. That leads us to my own business, because after I was laid off from my remote job in marketing in an education startup, I basically did the same thing for my own business, and some something that really helped me was my TTL list. So TTL stands for today, tomorrow, and later. And this template is for anybody who wants to start their own creator business, just like me. I'll link it. Everything's just in the description, okay? Basically, I have the today, tomorrow, and later. And today is broken down into one big thing. So if I just do that one easy thing every day, then I'm satisfied. So this makes sure it's very broken down. It's very easy for me to start, which I always have trouble with starting if it's too overwhelming. And I spend too much time organizing my to-dos because every day I didn't do something, I would have to move it to tomorrow and I had to like reschedule everything and it was just too much work and I didn't do any of it. So now if I don't do something that was scheduled for today, I just leave it there because tomorrow is the new today. And I can't plan further than today and tomorrow. So this was very, very helpful. And if the list piles up, I just archive all of it and then start a new list because the things that are truly important will make its way to the new list. I also make sure I have systems in place like other people who are waiting for me to get the stuff done. So like even for this YouTube video, I procrastinated so much and my YouTube editor was like, hey, when is the next video? I need it. So that really kicked my butt into gear. I also co-work with my friends. So if I really have to get a bunch of admin work done, I'll hit up my friends, we'll go to the library and just lock in together. That really helps. And community is also really important because I love yapping and I love helping people and sharing stuff. So when I'm able to be engaging and interacting with people in that way, it really helps me stay consistent in my own business despite all of the up and down and all the chaos. The area of my life we're talking about next is hobbies. I am doing this thing called 12 skills in 12 months where every single month I start a new hobby because honestly I cannot stick with a hobby for more than 30 days. Like even 2 weeks is a lot. So what I did is in December I practiced piano and I really hyper fixated on it. The hyper focus was insane. I did not drink water. I did not eat. I did not go to the bathroom. For 3 hours a day I was playing that piano because it was so fun. And I got sick of it after 2 weeks when I mastered a song and then I went to another song that I liked. And then after that, I was just done. So that took about 30 days. It was really fun. And January, I moved on to sewing and I made my own top, got bored of it after like 2 weeks again, even though I was supposed to make other stuff, but I haven't gotten around to it. So I might go back to it, but I did learn the skill. And then after that, I traveled and I learned some other skills like relationship communication. I'm learning Vietnamese right now as well. Like I'm actually taking classes for it 3 days a week, but it's live and interactive. So it doesn't feel like that much more work because other people are depending on me. And if that's happening, then it's a lot easier for me to get stuff done. And I'm also hoping to write a book. I have been self-published before, but I am writing a book documenting the lore of these stuffies that me and my sister used to play with. There was like a whole character list of every single stuffie that we played with, their personalities, the timeline of the adventures they went on, and I just want to document it because there was so much here. We were so creative. Anyway, I also have something called a template day that really helps me because again, I need the flexibility, but not too much flexibility because I'll be like, okay, if I have a blank calendar, I don't know what I'm doing all day. Like I need some kind of structure, but like not too much because I can't be too rigid. So all of this is explained in some of my other videos. You can check that out. Basically, this template day also comes with themed weeks. So every single week, I break it down to like what project I want to accomplish or what intentions I want to focus on. So like maybe one week I'll be like, I need to focus on my sewing stuff. Another week I'll be like, I want to focus on just hanging out with friends. And each weekly theme really helps me stay organized and get my goals and hobbies done. Now, finances. There's too much here to squish into this video, and I did make a very comprehensive tutorial about my finance dashboard and how I track everything, including setting my finance intentions for the month. I realized that budgeting was not going to work for me. Like I'm too impulsive. I'm not going to listen to my own budget. It's boring. It's restrictive. Like I want the fun stuff. And the fun stuff for me is looking at my bank statements and everything at the end of every month to find out like a fun surprise, how much I've spent in each category. And the fact that each category can be broken down into a cute little chart makes it even more fun for me. And with that information, I'm able to set my intentions for the next month. So it's like, oh, I spent too much on my gym membership stuff this month, and next month I want to decrease that. So then I'll set that intention at the beginning of the month and just hope for the best. And somehow it works for me. But if you're more into like the granular tracking and budgeting, there are a few apps that I heard are pretty good. I will link them again in the description below. Now, moving on to physical health. So for sleep, I actually started putting my phone just a few steps away from bed. Like, it does not have to be outside of my room. It's just a few steps away so that I have to get out of bed to go on my phone. And that really helped my sleep. That, and I used this app called Finch and added one of my goals to be put my phone away from bed. And then because I did that and I wanted my pet bird to grow and be happy, it was more rewarding for me to put my phone away from my bed. And for nutrition, this one I'm still struggling with, but I did try to make it fun. I eat the same thing daily, but sometimes I forget to eat. I take like 5 hours to eat breakfast, but basically I created a cute little menu to make it fun, and like I hired myself as my personal chef. Oh, me as a personal chef is horrible. I fired her and rehired her so many times, but this is like the creative solutions that you can do to kind of create systems to manage some of the ADHD symptoms that you're struggling with. The next thing is exercise, and for this, I am actually marathon training. So I found this random Excel template online because I was recording everything in this beautiful spreadsheet with all these colors, and it showed like I had a daily streak. I was very consistent with it until I got injured. So I stopped after my injury, but this was really helpful for me. If you are wanting to go to the gym more and you don't know where to start, some apps can be very helpful. I will recommend a few below, but the gamified ones are the best, like especially if you get to score points and level up and you get to compete against people. Okay, now moving on to mental health. So this is covered extensively in my course because everything starts mentally, like your actions and your perceptions, everything comes from your thoughts. The first thing that we do in my life tracking course, which again is linked in the description below, this is focused on your values first because everything kind of flows from there. So if you say that you value health, but you're not going to the gym, your sleep schedule sucks, you are not being on top of nutrition, like there's a mismatch there. So first figure out your values and then your actions can flow from there, and we can create systems to make it easier for you. So I have this values quiz in my course that people take, and then they use that to figure out their life North Star metric, which is like their life purpose. I think you can kind of see everything in this mental health section is going to be very business focused because, you know, these systems work well for businesses, which can get very big and very chaotic with lots of people. So I'm like, if it works for businesses, why can't it work for my personal chaotic life as an ADHD girly? So anyway, the life North Star metric is basically like your life purpose, the thing that you strive towards, like your best self. And for me, this is number of people positively impacted, but for some students in my course, it's number of stories collected or number of days you're genuinely excited to wake up for. And this is basically something that will kind of realign you. So if you're not living in alignment with your values or this life purpose, then you won't feel like doing stuff. But I can do so much admin work when I'm realigned with my values and my purpose because the result is worth it. Like the reward and the intrinsic motivation, the enjoyment that I get from knowing that it's worth it, this is fulfilling, this is my purpose, is worth the boring admin work, which I wouldn't usually do. Now, the next thing I do is I have daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, and yearly reflections. This is also covered in my course, but I need these to vibe check me because otherwise I would not remember a single thing in my life, and therefore I would not grow and improve. So this is a way that I set my intentions so that I can improve and kind of like look back and see how much I've grown, see all the wins, because there was actually this one month where I was like, life sucks, I got nothing done. I was catastrophizing in my head. Again, you can kind of see like my actions kind of flow from my thoughts. So I was feeling very discouraged. I didn't want to go out, I didn't want to do anything. But then I did my weekly and monthly reflections and I was like, hey, actually, I had quite a bit of wins this month that I completely forgot about. So I had more wins than losses, and even the losses themselves were framed as learnings. So it wasn't really a failure and I wasn't like the worst. It was more like, okay, I know this now, I've learned, I can grow and improve in the future. So I felt a lot better about myself, and because I had that energy, that momentum carried me forward and I started getting more things done that I wanted to get done. And I also felt a lot better mentally. This leads me to share a thing that I had to learn through months and months of therapy, plus from an ADHD book. It's your self-talk, or the way that you talk to yourself, and even the way that you perceive other people. So I tell the story everywhere, but it's so important, especially as ADHDers who have rejection sensitivity. Basically, this is a story of a little kid, little Johnny, and he's playing baseball. He has a coach called Coach A, and when he missed a hit, he was very discouraged, and Coach A goes up to him and is like, that was so easy, how did you miss that? You're a failure, you suck, like why are you even on this baseball team? You disappointed everybody. Obviously, this little kid is even more upset now, and he's very ashamed. He does not want to continue playing baseball. He does not want to try again. He feels very discouraged. He's like a bit traumatized. But what if there was another coach called Coach B, and Coach B is like, okay, it's okay, like I understand it's frustrating, maybe just like adjust your hand like this and next time you'll get it. I understand you're disappointed, but life happens and you can just learn from it and improve. So obviously this kid, little Johnny, is still gonna be a bit upset and disappointed, but at least he feels encouraged to try again. He's not like running away in shame, never wanting to play baseball again. So most of us can agree that Coach B is actually the most effective coach for little Johnny, but we actually talk to ourselves like Coach A, and we still expect ourselves to keep pushing forward and trying to do things as if we weren't actively getting in our own way and discouraging ourselves. And this also leads me to think about this thing that my therapist told me, which was emotional boundaries, because nobody can make you feel anything and you can't make anybody feel anything. It's more the perception. So if somebody ignores you, it's your perception that they ignored you. Maybe they just didn't hear you. So if you have this mean caricature of other people in your head thinking like they're just gonna judge me, they're gonna shame me, they ignore me, they hate me, that's actually you judging them. Like that perception, that interpretation is coming from you. And when somebody actually tells you like you're annoying, you suck, all of that is more of a reflection of them, because they have this picture in their head, this perception, thinking that you are somebody who is annoying, even if you yourself know that that's not true. So as long as you can be secure in yourself and like understand that it's like these emotional boundaries and perceptions that mean everything, that will help you so much mentally. Okay, so one thing that I use to really help break this down and get to the root cause of the problem or the insecurity or the trigger and trauma is the 5 whys analysis, where you ask yourself why 5 times. So if you're like, okay, I am procrastinating on starting my business, ask yourself why. Maybe it's like you don't have time. Why don't you have time? Well, every day is just so busy and then you don't have energy. Well, why not? And then you keep going down and down, and it's like, well, maybe you don't even know where to start because everything feels overwhelming. There's too much information out there and you don't break down the tasks into like the minimum easiest action ever. Like if you have time to brush your teeth every day, like surely you have time to make a little bit of progress in your business or whatever goal that you have. So you keep asking why all the way down to the root cause, and usually it's like an insecurity like perfectionism or like fear of failure, even fear of success. So once you get to that root cause, it becomes a lot clearer to diagnose the right problem instead of coming up with band-aid solutions that only address the symptom and not the cause. Now, for all of this, I had a lot of help from my therapist, and I actually documented this in Notion as well. This is how I structure my template. First, I have the goals, and keep in mind, I don't always fill out every part of this template every time. Like it does not have to be perfect. I usually leave the journaling prompts blank because, you know, I just talk about it with my partner, or I would just skip it because I'm lazy and I do this journaling during my weekly reflections anyway. And I have a bunch of topics that I can talk about just like to remind myself, and the meeting notes. And then each meeting note is like broken down by topic. And then there's like a cute little box here for things that my therapist said that were wise that I wanted to remember. And I also have observations and action items, if any, but usually I leave most things blank except for the meeting notes section, and that's where I'm taking the most notes. Okay, so that was mental health. Now it is social. For all of my friends, my relationships, I make them send me a calendar invite for stuff, because otherwise I straight up will not remember and will be late / not show up. If they want to book a time with me, if they want to hang out, they can just send me a calendar invite. I will accept or reject it, and that just makes things so much easier. So people judge me for that because it's like, why are you running your life like a business? But it's honestly saves me so much brain space. Anyway, for emails, I actually have a ton of emails, and I use Forage Mail. Every single day, if I get a lot of emails, it'll send one email summarizing all the emails I get and surface the important emails so that I know to respond to them, and all of the rest that aren't as important, it gets tucked away into a little label for later. Oh, and they sponsored one of my recent email newsletters, so please be sure to check them out. They are awesome. I tried them out. I also do weekly relationship reflections, where every single week at the end of the week, my partner and I will kind of discuss where we're at, how we're feeling. So a question that we would ask each other is like, what's something you didn't get to tell me this week? Or what's a way I could better support you this week? And things like that. And then we get to know each other better and just like have a fun time and just vibe. And that way things don't just come out of nowhere. Like we're not having an argument randomly out of nowhere. Okay. Next section, admin / chores, the bane of my existence. So what I do here that helps a lot is body doubling, because literally the other day, I did not want to spend 3 minutes doing my dishes. So luckily I got my sister to come, and she was just yapping and then we were talking, and as we talk, I needed something to do with my hands, so I was just doing the dishes and it helped so much. I got those done in like 3 minutes. The other thing I do is automations. These are huge because a lot of the issues I have is with starting tasks, and with automations, it would just start for me without me even thinking about it, and all I have to do is continue it. I have another video about all my automations outlined for like every single category. I think there's like categories on health and like personal development, safety, stuff like that. So be sure to check out that video. I also have a list of automation templates, so everything is ready for you in the description. That was kind of the last category, and I just want to leave you with some last words to kind of summarize everything. I know that was a lot, so I would say the most important thing for you to remember, like your key takeaway for this video, would be that your self-talk matters so much. If you're talking to yourself like Coach A, being very critical, shaming yourself, you're not gonna feel motivated to continue doing anything. But if you talk to yourself more like Coach A, very encouraging, very forgiving, you will be more ready to be creative and make new systems that work with your brain instead of against it. Instead of thinking like, why can't I just be normal? You might be thinking like, what's a creative way that I can make better systems for myself? Because that's what I've done. Like all these systems that I shared in this video, they have helped me so much that I did not even get an ADHD diagnosis or meds until like this point. And right now, the only reason I did that was because I'm going to be moving and like doing chores and stuff, and all of that is going to take a lot of admin work, so I might need extra support from meds for that. But other than that, like every area of my life is just worked well with all of these systems. Another thing is you do not have to over optimize everything. Like don't feel like you have to copy my system step by step, because all of that is for my life. I wanted to use these as examples and help you understand the principles behind them and my reasoning for creating these systems so that you can make ones that work for your lifestyle. That's everything for today. I have a bunch of resources and templates, so be sure to check out those other videos in the description, and I will see you in the next video.